Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jackson.
From Top Notch Sports. Today we're going to be going over the San Francisco 49ers offseason salary review with head coach Kyle Shanahan. And let's see what they can do coming off of a Super Bowl run a year prior to this year and then a disappointing this season. But look, you got a few key pieces in offense. You know that Kyle Shanahan's a offensive mastermind. Let's see what they can do this year. And let's look at their salary cap. Starting with the first slide, I'll have Jackson explain. Go ahead.
All right, this team's got $18.8 million to spend. These are the guys under contract for 2021. Say they were to re-sign. No free agents. This is what their lineup would most likely look like in 2021. Green is you cut and you save. Red is you cut and you lose. Like Nick just said, this team was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, falling to the Kansas City Chiefs, and then having a disappointment follow-up season, mainly due to an injury-plagued season, injuries all over the place to Jimmy Garoppolo. They lost Nick Bosa. They lost a lot of pieces on this team. But this team does have the pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, D Ford. That is a nasty front four right there to get at the quarterback. They got some question marks at linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, and then Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles over here at outside linebacker. Fred Warner, again, one of the best middle linebackers in the league. Jimmy Ward's a solid safety. And then we don't know much about Tavarius Moore. He could be a guy that possibly could be replaced in the draft. Got a lot of question marks over here at cornerback position, as you guys are losing two cornerbacks in Richard Sherman and Jason Brett. So Adonis over here and Tim probably won't get the job done for you guys. Then on the offensive line, you're losing your left tackle. So we had Justin Skull over here. Probably won't get the job done. We'll have to wait and see if we re-sign Trent Williams. And then another question mark here is Corbin Kafusi over here. So some question marks on the offensive line. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, again, he's been injured. So we don't really know what he can do in a full season. I mean, we did see him lead the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl. Again, a lot of people say he got carried. So I have to wait and see what we do there. Solid receivers. You got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk over here. Brandon Ayuk, you guys just did pick him up in the first round in this past draft. Solid. He's been solid. And then George Kittle, again, this man is an absolute monster, catching the ball, blocking for his running backs and receivers. This dude's just a pure animal. So I have to wait and see what Kyle Shanahan can do here with this team. I expect it to be a very productive offseason.
Yeah, so when I look at this team real fast, just to break down a few things, Javon Kinlaw was my favorite defensive tackle coming out of last year's draft. Big fan of this guy. I think he is the best defensive tackle in the draft. Gets after the passer, really good against the run, really solid player. The biggest question mark on this entire team is not the defense. And one thing is that you guys are losing Robert Saleh, your defensive coordinator. But the other big question mark is your quarterback position. Again, when Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, he's a pretty dang good quarterback. But the question is when he is healthy. That's the issue. He is never healthy. So let's go on to the next slide. Again, remember, green means you cut and you save. Red means you cut and you lose. You're at 18.8. Is Jimmy Garoppolo worth $23.6 million? Well, let's go to the next slide and show you guys your notable losses, guys who are currently not under contract. Go ahead, Jackson.
First things first, using Trent Williams, your left tackle. He's expecting a big payday. 3 years, $54 million. He played 87.5% of the snaps. Losing a cornerback in Richard Sherman, who's been solid since he's been healthy for you guys. His expected deal is a 1 year, $7 million deal. He played 32% of the snaps. Solomon Thomas, who hasn't really panned out for you guys so far, picking him up in a couple drafts ago. His expected deal is 3 years, $7 million. Played 4.7% of the snaps. Jaquiski Tart, strong safety. His expected deal is 1 year, $5 million. He played 36% of the snaps. Losing a fullback in Kyle Juszczyk. His expected deal is 2 years, $9 million. He played 43.1% of snaps. Losing a wide receiver in Kendrick Bourne. His expected deal is a year, 4.5. Played 62.9% of the snaps. You're losing two cornerbacks, Jason Brett and Emmanuel Mosley. Brett is expected 2 year, $10 million. He played 74% of the snaps. Mosley expected 1 year, $1 million. He played 48.1% of the defensive snaps.
Absolutely. So typically you want to bring back the guys that play a high percentage of the snaps because these are the guys that you want to keep around. They have continuity, chemistry. They're a familiar face. You want to keep the things the same on the offensive line and honestly throughout the entire team. So again, look for some of these names that played a high percentage of snaps to come back this season. But now we're going to bring up two slides for you guys. So the first one is the play it out mode. This is the one where you guys are going to rock and roll with Jimmy Garoppolo. This one, you guys are estimating cap space is $18.8 million. estimated cuts, you're not undercutting nobody. There's really nobody really worth cutting. Again, when you go back to the first slide here, you don't really see anybody. Who are you going to cut where you're going to really save money? There's really not too many options to cut and save. It's not worth it. The only guy that would be really worth to cut would be Jimmy Garoppolo. But in this situation, a realistic expectation, the play it out mode, we're going to say you cut nobody. Estimating signings, we're going to bring back Trent Williams on a 3-year, $54 million deal. That would be an $18 million cap hit, which will leave you guys with $800,000 left in salary cap. That being stated, you guys, your team needs this offseason would be a left tackle, a wide receiver, an outside linebacker, a cornerback, and a safety. On this model, in the play-it-out scenario, we're saying that you re-sign Trent Williams to establish that need. You draft in the first round Caleb Farley to establish a cornerback position. You guys would still be weak at the other side because you don't have Jason Verrett or Richard Sherman, so you're going to have to figure that out. And then you'd also draft a wide receiver, an outside linebacker, and a safety on the play-it-out model. I'll have Jackson break down what the expected lineup will look like in the play-it-out model right now. Go ahead.
All right, so this is our play it out for 2021. There's a lot of guys in yellow, and yellows mean placeholders. So you see Adonis Alexander is in yellow. So, we did help out that position by drafting Caleb Farley. That's why he's in blue there, because we did just draft Caleb Farley. But you're still going to want another corner alongside of him. Demetrius and Dre Greenlaw over here out the outside linebacker spots. Again, we said down here in the reserves that we want to draft an outside linebacker. So those guys could be placeholders right now. Whoever we draft, plug those guys in. Tavarius Moore, again, you want to draft the safety and definitely get a better option in the draft. We got Corbin over here, right guard. We want to definitely draft a better option. And then Richie James, who, again, he played pretty solid at wide receiver, but again, you could definitely get a better option. I like this mode. We have to see what we have to do for the rebuild mode, but this is a very realistic option for what the 49ers can do in 2021.
Yeah, this is just a rocket out option. Like Jackson said, again, yellow's placeholders, orange is re-sign, and blue is draft. So, look at this, break it down, let us know what you think. Let's go into the rebuild mode. Here we go. Rebuild mode. You got $18.8 million estimated cuts. You're not cutting them, but we're doing this to show you how much money you would save. $23.6 million, which would put you at $42.4 million in estimated cap space available. All right, you lose your quarterback. Now what do? Well, you're going to estimate a signing. So you can sign Trent Williams on a 3-year, $54 million deal, just like we did on the last slide, and that would be $18 million cap hit. You bring back Jason Verrett on a 2-year, $10 million deal. You re-sign Kyle Juszczyk on a 2-year, $9 million deal. You bring back Emmanuel Mosley, cornerback, on a 1-year, $1 million deal. You bring in quarterback for the first time. You sign Mitch Trubisky on a 1-year, $9 million deal, a lot cheaper than Jimmy G. Again, Jimmy G's 23.6. You didn't bring in Trubisky for about $9 million and let him work with the offensive mastermind and Kyle Shanahan. And then you can bring in Rashad Higgins from the Cleveland Browns on a 3-year, $14 million deal. Again, all these cap hits added up would cost $42.2 million in total cost, which would leave you guys with $200,000 in estimated remaining cap space. We got the mock trade over here. You guys would trade Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick. That might be a little too generous. I don't know what's going on with Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Teams might not be interested in trading away a second-round pick. I'm sure that you might find a bidder, though. You might find someone in maybe the New England Patriots, like Jackson was mentioning before. Some team might pass up a second-round pick to bring him in. Team needs. What are we establishing with this rebuild mode scenario? Well, left tackle, you're re-signing Trent Williams. Wide receiver, you're signing Rashard Higgins. Outside linebacker, you still got to draft one. Cornerback, you're re-signing Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley, and you're drafting Caleb Farley. And safety, you got to draft. Again, you're replacing Mitch Trubisky with Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's look on the next slide to show you what this starting lineup will look like. Go ahead, Jackson.
All right, this is a rebuild mode here. If we made all those moves, this is what we would look like in 2021 again. So we still got Caleb Farley. We picked him up with the 12th overall pick. And then now we got a solid cornerback alongside of him in Jason Verrett. So that's a solid 1-2 punch over there. We still got to address this outside linebacker spot in the draft. So, again, these guys are still going to be yellow for whoever we pick up in the draft. Then we still got Tavarius Moore over here. So, again, better option in the draft, most likely at the safety. Then still got to address the right guard position in the draft as well. But again, like Nick said about Mitch Trubisky, this dude was drafted second overall for a reason. He's definitely got a lot of potential, and maybe like a guy like Kyle Shanahan can help him bring out that full potential. And then again, we addressed the wide receiver spot, bringing in Rashard Higgins, had a very solid year in Cleveland, filling in for Odell Beckham. Again, this is a very solid team. I like this team more than I like the last team. For some reason, I feel more confident in Mitch Trubisky. I normally don't say that. But with a guy like Kyle Shanahan, he can bring out a lot in Mitch Trubisky. Raheem Mostert against a solid running back. So, again, this team's got a lot of potential. It's going to come down to what the offense feels, because we know what this defense does. They're one of the best defenses a couple years ago, and you still got some of the same pieces. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a tough NFC West division with the other three teams, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So this team's going to have to win some games. I definitely believe they can under head coach Kyle Shanahan.
I agree with you. I think I do like this team better. And again, I got no disrespect on Jimmy G. The only other option that you can do on this side would be maybe Jimmy G takes a restructure of his contract, which I don't think he's going to be willing to do. Look, this is what you got. You got Mitch Trubisky, and bringing in Mitch Trubisky, who would save you $23 million. Well, about what, 23? So it would be 14 million, 13, 12 million, right around there, 12 to 14 million dollars you would save bringing in Mitch Trubisky. And that's a lot more team friendly, because now you can bring in guys like Rashard Higgins, you can bring back Jason Verrett, right? And you can build your team that way. This is a much more team friendly deal, team friendly contract for your guys' organization here. Again, you look at this team, you guys got a lot of missing pieces. You need a right guard, you need another receiver, you need cornerbacks, you need an outside linebacker, you need a safety. Well, guess what? If you do this, you got your quarterback. I mean, maybe not as good as Jimmy G, we'll say. But again, I think Mitch Trubisky has a lot of potential still. You bring in your wide receiver. You don't need that anymore. Remember, you're getting a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. That can establish the outside linebacking position, maybe both of the positions. So now you guys would have 2 second-round picks. You can get your safety. I think this is much better for team building purposes. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's all from us from Top Notch Sports. We'll see you guys soon. Peace. Jackson, we are
built better.
See you guys soon. Peace.